Hello and welcome to Real and Replica Steel. I've just taken possession of a brand new Sig Sauer X-Five all-round. So today I'll be doing an initial clean and inspection. Before we get into the gun, let's just have a bit of a look. In the box we have a manual, and the Sig Sauers come with a test target. So back in the factory they fire a few rounds through it before they send it out, and this is the test target at 25 metres. So a fairly nice tight little group here. This one also comes with a lock. Okay, now for the gun. Okay, first thing we're going to do of course is our safety inspection, as the magazine is empty. Okay, and chamber is clear. This particular gun comes with a second magazine, a little tool for doing some adjustments, and the gun grease, which you're supposed to put on your slide. I use my own products, but more of that later. Okay, the first thing to do is take down the gun. Now on this particular gun it's a very simple process. We just take the slide back until the slide stop is engaged, which it is. And here's the takedown lever here. It's a little bit stiff on the new gun. There we go, around there. And the slide will now just move forward and off. Simple as that. To get the recoil spring out, you have to be careful it doesn't spring out, so you grab it carefully and out. One of the nice things about the X-Fives and X6s is they have a buffer spring as well, which helps reduce recoil, which is good if you're going to do some rapid fire. Okay, to get out the barrel, it's a very simple process. Simply move it forward a little bit and lift and up and out. First thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of the cleanse oil down the barrel. And the inside of the barrel a quick coat. It's important not to put the copper brush through the barrel while it's dry, so add a little bit more oil to the brush, and we run the brush through the barrel from breech to muzzle. Now I'm just going slowly so I don't spray my camera and all my equipment with oil. Normally you'd be a little bit more vigorous. There's a nice little coating inside the barrel now, so I'm going to put that aside and just let it soak, and that helps to break up the contaminants. I'm going to use the same product, the cleanse oil. A bit of a clean inside the slide guides, and the breech face, which has some carbon built up here. Give that a good clean. You may need to be a bit more vigorous than that if you've got a really dirty gun. I'm just, as I mentioned before, just going to do a very quick clean today. Give everything a quick wipe down with a paper towel first and get rid of a lot of the grime. As far as the main frame is concerned, similar process. It's a little bit hard to get into all the nooks and the crannies with the springs. I tend to just put a little bit of spray on the spring and just roll it around a little bit. The spring guide. Yep, a little bit of muck there. I'm using the Break Free as the lubricant in this particular case. The Break Free leaves a nice coating on there which protects against rust and coats the metal. Now we're using cotton swabs. It's important to use cotton and not a synthetic material. The cotton's nice and soft and won't damage your bore at all. Again, breech to muzzle, and you can see the carbon fouling that's come out there. Okay, inside of a barrel, a bit of a clean. The feed ramp area, normally you'd get into that with a brush, but the fouling on this gun is very light since it's new, so I'm not going to worry too much. I'm just going to use the brush and this patch to just get inside the guide rails and the slide. Okay, now put another clean patch through. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. You go through another couple of times if you like. Now, there's a bit of debate about whether you should now apply a light coat of oil to a patch and put it through. Certainly if I was going to put this firearm away for an extended period of time, I would do that. However, I mentioned before that the break free and the cleanse oil products do leave a fine coating on the inside of the barrel which protects the barrel. So in this case it's not necessary to lubricate the bore. At all times it's important to make sure you don't leave oil deposits or leave any thick oil inside the bore, as this is not good for the gun when it's fired. So if you're going to leave any in at all, I'd use a very light general purpose gun oil. And while we're talking about gun oils, never use products like WD-40 or RP7. Those products dry out, leaving a thick gummy sort of substance, and if you use them they will gum up your gun. So you only use good quality gun oils. Before we reassemble, it's time to do a little bit more lubricating. Now, for the parts that do all of the work, the high friction areas like along the guide rails on the slide and the friction points on the barrel where the barrel locks, I use a product called Speed Metal. It's a fairly viscous sort of oil, and you don't need much. So the idea is that you certainly would never use a product like that inside the barrel, so you've got to make sure none actually finds its way in there. But all the friction points, which include the end of the barrel, when you put the barrel back in, it should glide smoothly. Again on the slide guides, front and rear, just a drop. You can see I'm just putting a drop on there. Doesn't need much. And before, of course, we put the spring back in. The procedure for putting the spring back in is just the reverse of taking it out. Okay. And so. Okay, get that oil in there. Slide catch engaged, take down lever returned. And at this point, just clean off all the excess oil from the outside of the gun. Now, notice I didn't go putting huge amounts of oil in the trigger mechanisms and all of those sorts of things. This doesn't need to be done every time you clean the gun. All you really need to do is oil and clean the main parts that I've shown you, things like the trigger mechanisms and the hammer springs and so forth. Maybe every 500 to 1,000 rounds you can put a few dobs of oil on there. Okay, and that's it. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.